Hi, Tom Cooley, coach for Buckeye Cable and BCSN, and welcome into another edition of Sports Flash. And you know, really being a sports guy, I'm so honored to sit next to this man, Stan Clarke, Toledo legend, great Woodward pitcher, major leagues. Stan, give me the list of teams. Run down the teams for me.
Alrighty, it was Toronto, Seattle, Kansas City, St. Louis, and Detroit.
Yeah. The Old English D for me is, you know, there's something about that uniform, that Old English D, Stan. I don't know what it is, but you know, when I see that uniform, it just never goes out of style to me.
Tom, you know what brought me even interested in baseball was watching Mickey Lolich. And the first time I ever seen the man pitch, I said, you know what, that's what I want to do. I want to pitch. Obviously, being left-handed made that a little bit more intriguing for me. And yeah, it was an honor to play in their organization. Unfortunately, I never got to pitch in the big leagues with them, but I played out here at the with the Mud Hens. Of course, it was at the rec center. But Tom, my highlight of my career, and I always tell people, was when I was with Seattle. I actually pitched in the old Tiger Stadium, and I got a win there. And to stand on that mound and to think that was the same mound that Mickey Lolich and you know, some of the greats that stood on that mound, it was an honor and a privilege for me.
Stan, you know, Mickey Lolich is, you know, you guys were both great lefties. His performance in the '68 World Series was, well, I mean, he won the series for him. I mean, he really did, because McLean, I think, you know, McLean was great, and he won his 30, you know, whatever games, 31, if it ended up being, or 30. But his arm was on the way down. He had used it up, and Mick just went out and took the ball, and he really pitched. You know, he was a pitcher's pitcher. I mean, you couldn't intimidate him, and he had a lot of different speeds. He could do so many things with a baseball.
Tom, he was phenomenal in that '68 World Series, and I remember it well. I remember I was the hero of all my classmates in school, which not many of them cared much about baseball. But that was back when the World Series was being played during the afternoon, and my teacher knew how much I loved baseball, and she interrupted the class to let us watch that World Series one day in school. So I kind of became an instant hero. Yeah, Mickey Lolich's career was just a tad bit better than mine, Coach, but yeah, it was, not only did he do it with his arm in that series, Coach, but if memory serves me right, I think he did a little bit with his bat as well.
He did. He really did. All right, Stan, all these years, you know, the longevity in a pro career, most guys don't get but a cup of coffee. And, you know, you had all these experiences. Besides Mickey, another pitcher that you admired and a hitter that, Stan, you just went, you saw him and you just said, oh my, this guy's unreal. Give me a pitcher and give me the hitter.
Tom, I'll tell you what, as far as a hitter, and unfortunately his career was cut so short, and I tell everybody, not only was he a phenomenal person, but just an incredible athlete. Had he not gotten hurt, I think he would have shattered all records in baseball in terms of offense, and that was Bo Jackson. What a great guy. And I got the pleasure of being in spring training with him, seeing him just hit the ball. Unbelievable. I actually pitched against him in a scrimmage game. I think he hit one off the fence on me. It never got much more than 10 feet off the ground. But what an incredible athlete. I know his career was cut short, but certainly that was a huge bat. There's so many, it's just hard to name them all.
Another pitcher that you admire.
Oh, my goodness.
Were you a Tanana guy? Because he was a crafty, you know, lefty too.
You know what? And Frank, yeah, Frank was incredible, because his career was completely flipped around. He went from a power pitcher to a guy that flipped it up there and did a darn good job.
And he could change speeds. I mean, he had slower, slowest, and he had those guys so off balance they didn't know what they were doing. Absolutely. But I tell you what, Tom, as far as second in line to Mickey Lolich for me was Steve Carlton. Yeah, well, yeah.
I had the pleasure of meeting him in spring training. Got to sit down and have a couple pops with him. What a great guy. Oh, I tell you what, he didn't, you know, it was myself, a couple guys from the Jays, Tug McGraw, who obviously was the life of the party, and Steve Carlton. I don't think Steve said much more than 4 or 5 words the whole time. I just sat there and all my jaw was dropped, and I'm thinking, I'm sitting at the same table with Steve Carlton having a beer, and this guy was certainly one of my heroes.
Yeah, that's amazing. Stan, what brought you to the Wounded Warrior amputee softball team? You know, kind of take us in how you got here.
Tom, they asked me last year if I would participate in this as one of the, and I say, quote, celebrities.
You are a celebrity.
Far from that, but you know what, Tom, the bottom line is we take so many things for granted.
Yes.
You know, going to an amusement park with your kids, going to work every day, playing baseball, playing around a golf. if it wasn't for the men and women that are out there protecting our borders and protecting us, we wouldn't be able to do that. So when they asked me if I'd come out here and play in the softball game, wasn't even a thought went through my mind. I said, absolutely.
You know, it's so funny. I was doing a couple other interviews, Stan, and I told my wife when I came home from the NED 2014 when they were out there 2 years ago, I told my wife, I said, we've never had a problem in our life, and if I ever complain about anything, I want you to break a chair over my head. Because when you see these men and women, they are real heroes. You know, we talk about movie people and music people, and they're entertainers. These people are heroes.
Absolutely, Tom. You know, everybody has their certain amount of stress in their lives, but I can't even fathom being in a situation where every second that ticks off the clock, you could literally be killed. And that's what these folks willingly put themselves into on a daily basis to protect us. And I can't even, in my wildest dreams, imagine that. And certainly, what anything we can do to thank them for what they do for us, we certainly need to do that.
Well, listen, Lefty, Stan Clarke, you're a legend here in town in baseball. You've always been a class act. Thank you for being here.
Coach, thank you. Appreciate
and it was an honor to chat with you. Thanks, Stan.
Thanks.
Tom Kohler, coach for Buckeye Cable and BCSN.